Welcome back, or welcome in to my channel. You can probably guess what the reading is going to be about just based on the title. But before we get started, I do want to just kind of cleanse the air with the selenite wand. The timestamps will be down below if you do want to skip this section. But it's just to kind of clear the air, clear the area. Okay, that should be good. So as usual, we have one with this red jasper here. Number two with this red coral. And three with this blue kyanite. So, if you're new here, you don't know how big card readings work. For my readings, you can choose 1, 2, or all 3 if you want to. Usually you would go with your gut feelings, but you just go for whatever draws to you or calls to you. And you can feel free to pick another path if you feel like you chose the wrong one for whatever reason. So, pile number 1, 2, 3. Alright, pile number 1 for you guys. We have the red jasper. I'll get into the red jasper after the reading, or at least the properties of red jasper and how it may relate to this reading. Alright, so off the bat, the overall rating I'm getting for this is about moving past your comfort zone, or like doing something new, or at least not being in the same place, sort of. So we have the creativity card in reversed. The creativity card in reversed, equivalent to 3 of Pentacles, mentions disharmony, misalignment. However, this doesn't mean that you're going in the wrong direction, or that you should change your goals or whatever. It's more about how you're doing things, or it's more about the way you're going about things is bringing you in this lower vibration state. So the Wanderer in this reading, the Wanderer in reverse in this reading, this is kind of like the pause card, where kind of see the Wanderer getting ready to step off this here. This is kind of like saying, before you step off, kind of pause and wait a second. So it feels like you're kind of trying to rush through things, or you just want to get things done, but it's telling you to look at the bigger picture before you kind of like just go with the motion. And for most of you, it doesn't feel like you're overworking, so it's not really like a break card or a rest card, or break card or a rest card. It's more like it wants to remind you to think about what you're doing and why you're doing the things that you're doing, instead of just kind of rushing through it just to get things done, or you're just kind of being mindless about it. And the ancestor card for this one, I want to read from the book here, because there's a certain passage or a certain paragraph I wanted to read from here. Okay, so the ancestor reads, "You may feel wary of the unknown denizens that await you in the forest, but the ancient ancestor within you will guide and reassure you as you learn and create new experiences on the path. Trust your inner voice. Listen to your own instinctive and inquisitive nature. Your own inner ancestor is strong, patient, and wise. Let them lead you into the forest with new eyes and joyful heart, and a joyful heart. So, basically, this is reminding you to take charge of your own life. Instead of just doing things as you go through emotion, or instead of just doing things because you, for some reason, you feel like you just have to do it, or for some reason, not like, or you feel like you have to do it in the case, or in the sense that you're just doing it just to do it. This is more like you are doing it because you want to do it, you're doing it because you know you want to do it, and you're doing it because you know why you need to do it. This way you have more personal power in your life. I don't know if that makes sense, or if I'm just talking in circles, but you're taking initiative instead of feeling like you're doing things because subconsciously someone told you to do it, or subconsciously you feel like you need to do it. So, moving on with the Ace of Stones, we have Foundation of Life, Ace of Stones. So this represents, this is a continuation of the Ancestor card. This symbolizes being grounded. So while you find your inner peace, your inner intuition, your inner guidance, your inner voice, this helps you stay more grounded and helps you connect with that. Oops. So we have the affirmation, I'm expanding past my comfort zone into greater possibility. In this reading, it's about seeing things from a new perspective, like what the Ancestor card mentions. I acknowledge my fears and allow it to flow through me. Fear might have a lesson for me, but love is what drives me. So like what the Wanderer mentioned earlier, there's a difference between doing things because subconsciously you feel like you have to do it, and doing things because you see the bigger picture. I see the light and choose to reside in this living presence. While the previous card is more about motivation, this card is about staying motivated and staying in an energy of the Ancestor card. So, kind of like what I said about the Stone card earlier, or the Foundation of Life earlier. While the Ancestor is you getting into the energy, the Stone card or this affirmation is about staying in that energy once you get into that energy. And then we have, there is power and patience. I have all the time I need. Right, so moving on to the self-care oracle cards. The way I read most of my self-care cards, especially in this reading, is that it's not always at face value. So for example, we have watch a movie. So this could be at face value for some of you, maybe for some of you this could be a direct message for you, but the underlying message for this card is about, again, looking at the full picture. When you watch a movie, you don't just skip to the end to see what happens. Maybe some of you do, but usually you would want to watch from the beginning to the end, just see how the story progresses. And then we have deep breathing. So this is me to take a few seconds, ask yourself or universe for guidance. And then dance. Again, this could be literal, but the underlying message is to keep yourself uplifted. When moving around and dancing, it's kind of hard to stay sad or be in a low vibration if you're moving around and kind of being goofy or silly. So that was pile number 1. You guys can move on to number 2 if you want, with the timestamps below. But before I move on, I wanted to talk a little bit about red jasper and how it relates to this reading. So red jasper, like with a lot of red color crystals, they are good for grounding, like I mentioned in here. Red jasper is also good for self-confidence, like taking initiative. So I just want to kind of channel that energy with self-confidence and taking initiative and grounding. This is just gonna be really quick. Kind of like fluffing, your aura with some red jasper. Some on the crown of your head, to the sides, and then near your root chakra. Okay, so that's pile number 1. Move on to pile number 2. And I do have my links down below for everything, my Etsy, Instagram, and wherever else. Alright, pile number 2. Those of you guys who have the red coral here. So just like I did with pile number 1, I wanted to do like this sort of ASMR crystal aura fluffing thing, but after I do the reading. So, that being said, we have the Seven card in reversed. So sometimes this means taking the easy way out or finding more effective ways of doing things. When the Salmon card is outright, usually salmon, when they're spawning, they go upstream. It takes a lot of energy for them to do that. So by the time they reach upstream, they spawn. Most of them die by that time, if not all. I don't know the statistics, but it's very common for salmon to die after they spawn. Usually because of all the energy it takes for them to run up this hill, or not run up, to swim up this this waterfall. But when it's upside down, it's more like the waterfall. It's more like they're going in the reverse direction, and they're just going downhill. And when I say taking the easy way out, or taking the easy path, I don't mean that you're cutting corners for yourself. However, with the exploitation card, it may be that there's something that you're putting too much energy into. So let me show this card first. And it doesn't have to be a physical thing. Usually when the exploitation card is here, it's usually about financial loss or financial challenges. But in the context of this reading, it feels like it's more a mental thing. It feels like it has more to do with limiting beliefs, or the way that you judge yourself, or maybe like negative thoughts that you keep putting yourself into, or like negative thoughts that you keep telling yourself. So I feel like for some of you, that's whatever you're doing here, like while it's easy, for some of you it could be that you're, actually I want to clarify this first before I say that, because when I say that, it feels like some of you might be doing what's easy for you, or maybe it is financially viable, or maybe it gives you some money, but maybe whatever it is isn't what you want to do. Okay, so we have responsibility in reversed, which that could be about lacking hard work. So yeah, it feels like some of you are doing this because it's easy, and because it's like, well, it's giving you money and it's easy, so why not do it? But at the same time, I feel like some of you don't really have a lot of passion for this, or you feel like a lot of you are telling yourself too many negative things that you feel like that or you feel like whatever this is what's the best you can do. So because of these limiting beliefs, you're kind of stuck in this stagnant state where you feel like you're not good enough for this, but you can only do this. And there is an underlying cause for this, or as usual, a lot of our negative thoughts come from underlying causes, but this is saying that you need to locate what that is, and you don't have to like revisit it, but it is saying that you need to somewhat face it and move on from it. So the healing card and the reunion card, they kind of go together. The healing card in reverse is like saying there's something that needs to be healed, so that you can move on from it. Or the reunion card in reverse is like heal from this, so you don't have to repeat this cycle. Moving on to the affirmation. As I release the past, I awaken to possibility and allow my true essence to be revealed. So this is basically saying that some of you need to stop living in the past. So I feel like most of you who are in this negative loop, so the best way to break out of this negative loop cycle is to change your behavior. By changing your behavior, you change your thought patterns. When you change your thought patterns, you change your behavior, and it just becomes this loop cycle, or a positive loop cycle. So by breaking away from the past, so it is one thing to acknowledge the past and to understand why you did the things that you do, or why you do the things that you did. But the more we stay in there, the more we are in this negative loop cycle. And I trust myself, I know my heart. Let go of limiting beliefs and validate yourself. Connect with the earth. So, if you haven't seen pile number 1, this might be, it might resonate for some of you, pile number 1. But this is about grounding, and grounding may help improve your mood. So that was pile number 1. Pile number 2. And before I move on to pile number 3, I wanted to do like a quick aura fluffing with the red coral here. So red coral, like with pile number 1, like I said with pile number 1, red crystals are associated with the base chakra or the root chakra. The root chakra is for safety and grounding, especially for those who have like financial difficulties. But red coral is also good for absorbing negative energies, much like selenite and blue kyanite. It is also for passion, optimism, and uplifting your mood. So I'm just gonna do like a little quick aura fluffing with the red coral here, especially at the base chakra area and up to the ground. And as usual, if you want to skip this, the timestamps are down below. Okay, so that should be good. Okay, so that should be good. That was pile number 2. As usual, my stuff are down below. We move on to pile number 3. Alright, pile number 3. So pile number 3, I'm going to do something a little bit different, or something that I usually don't do. Usually I do my readings off camera so I can have a script ready, because it's like just trying to get my thoughts organized, and doing the reading just takes forever. But with pile number 3, I'm going to try and do that, because I usually do this night before, and I wanted to get this done before the afternoon, and it is around 8 a.m. right now. So right now, I'm just kind of clarifying each card while I do the readings. So my initiative, I guess, perspective of the reading is that I feel like this is about you not knowing if you should take this direction or not. So I'm clarifying the auto card. So sometimes the auto card can mean someone who's like waiting for something to happen. It can also mean someone who was getting ready to jump in, but they're kind of hesitating. So there's some kind of element of hesitating or waiting. I'm just kind of trying to clarify more specifically. Oh, I almost forgot pile number 3 with the blue guy knights. Okay, so I feel like this has less to do with moving on from something and more about hesitating if you should do something. So this is a clarification card for the other card. So I feel like you're kind of hesitating because maybe you're not sure if this is like a safe bet to make. Maybe you're sacrificing some things. And the decision card. So I feel like this is about, again, you're deciding if you should do this or not. Maybe you're in between two spots for some of you. Yeah, I feel like for most of you it's about if the decision you're making is going to be a safe bet for you. Yeah, if you should take this direction. I feel like for a lot of you, you have some limiting beliefs. Maybe pile number 2 might resonate with you because that talks about a little bit about resonating beliefs as well. So you have the Green Man in reverse. The Green Man is kind of similar to the Emperor card, and I feel like this has to do with like personal power, like taking initiative. So whenever I clarify each of these cards, I keep getting this card in reversed. So the protection card in reversed. This is about vulnerability or not being emotionally vulnerable. Although it's good to have some emotional vulnerability, that's not the focus of the reading. This vulnerability is more about being more confident, being more secure with yourself, and not being so closed off. So, kind of interesting that I keep pulling this card every time I clarify each of these cards. So I feel like overall message is about kind of like being more open-minded, kind of like not being so like closed off, I guess, or not closed off. I don't think that most of you guys are closed-minded as in ignorant, but it's more like you're not, I guess, looking at the bigger picture, or you're not really confident in your abilities. So I feel like some of you it's about taking a different direction, but for most of you I feel like it's about just taking that dive or taking that initiative. So yeah, I feel like some of you aren't exactly clear in the direction that you want to go to. So maybe you do want to do something, but you're not sure how to get there. So this is clarifying for the Green Man. So yeah, the clearance card is like you're not sure how to get there, and this next card in reverse is like it's like you're not even taking that first step because you don't know how to do, or you don't know that first step in the first place. And the instruction card in reverse. the instruction card in reverse. It's kind of like a for me, this kind of has a double meaning in this reading. So, off the bat, my first the first feeling I got from this is I feel like it is a continuation of not knowing what you want to do, but for some of you, I feel like it is also about doing things in a different way. So yeah, so this Nine of Arrows, so sometimes it can mean dedication, but sometimes, and especially for this reading, I feel like it means you're not really paying attention to where your arrows are going, so just kind of flying everywhere. You're just like doing things for whatever. And because of this, because your energy is kind of like misdirected and not focused, it kind of makes it harder for you to take that first step, take that first initiative, because you're not really focused on what it is, or you haven't really established that first action plan. And by the way, the action plan doesn't have to be this complicated step. We have the ancestor, so it's about like taking initiative, taking that first step. Basically, I feel like some of you are making it a lot harder than it needs to be. You're overthinking it. Overanalysis is a paralysis. So we have affirmation. I release attachment to the outcome and choose to enjoy the journey. So again, I feel like some of you are taking this two step by step. Where you think, okay, once I do this, I have to do this. Then once I do step 2, I have to do step 3. You're kind of like, instead of you're not allowing things to be flexible. So you're kind of like stuck in like this narrow tunnel vision instead of like letting things just letting opportunities come to you. You have connect with water. So water is very healing. It's also very nourishing and cleansing. So I feel like for this one, it's about like adapting to flexibility or being more flexible. So water, it takes the shape of its container, so it's very flexible, it's very adaptable, it's very movable. Not movable, it's like very fluid. So it wants you to take the energy. So basically, it's like asking you to be more flexible and take the energy of water, be more fluid. And alright, and that's pile number 3. So we have blue kyanite. So blue chakras, not blue crystals are good for throat chakras. So throat chakra is for self-confidence, speaking your voice. Blue kyanite is also good for absorbing negative energies. Gotta look this up real quick. So blue kyanite is also good for bringing chakras into alignment. So we bring your chakra into alignment to energize the throat chakra. So the throat chakra is for self-confidence and also speaking your truth, being more vocal, standing up for yourself. Just gonna fluff the aura with blue kyanite. Have align your chakras as well. Okay, so that's should be good.